She watched them through the reflection in the coffee pot. 2 men, 1 package, 3 seconds. And the biker sitting alone in booth 7 had no idea his next sip would be his last. Her name was Elena Martinez, and she spent 3 years working the graveyard shift at Tommy's Roadside Diner, a place where truckers, bikers, and insomniacs cross paths in the middle of nowhere. She'd learned to keep her mouth shut, her eyes down, and her problems to herself. That Thursday night started like any other. The usual crowd filtered through until around 1 a.m. when he rolled up on a midnight black Harley. The engine's roar announced it before he even walked through the door. He was tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a leather vest with patches that marked him as part of the Iron Wolves Motorcycle Club. His name was Jake Thornton, though everyone just called him Thorn. He was a road captain of his chapter, responsible for planning routes and keeping members safe on long rides. Tonight, he'd stopped for coffee on his way back from a run to the northern chapters. Elena poured his coffee without comment. She'd learned not to stare at the bikers who came through. Some were friendly, some weren't, and it was better not to guess which was which. Thorn ordered a burger and sat reading something on his phone, occasionally glancing out the window at his bike like a man who didn't trust the world not to take what was his. Then 2 men walked in wearing dark jackets and expressions that didn't match the late hour. They weren't truckers. They weren't travelers. They sat 3 booths away, ordered coffee they barely touched, and watched the biker with an intensity that made Elena's stomach tighten. When Thorn stood and headed to the restroom, one of the men moved fast. He slid out of his seat, walked past Thorn's booth like he was heading to the jukebox, and dropped something small into the coffee cup. The liquid didn't fizz or change color. Just a brief ripple, then nothing. Elena was wiping down the counter when she saw it happen. Her hands froze. The man looked up and caught her staring. His eyes locked on hers, not threatening, just acknowledging. "You saw. I know you saw." He returned to his booth, and Elena's heart hammered against her ribs. She should pretend she didn't see anything. She had an 8-year-old son at home with her sister. She couldn't afford trouble. Couldn't afford to get involved. But when Thorn came back and reached for his coffee, something inside her broke. She grabbed a fresh pot and walked over, leaning in close as she poured. Her voice was barely audible. "Don't drink that. Someone put something in it." Thorn's hand stopped mid-reach. His eyes, sharp and assessing, met hers. "You sure about that?" Elena nodded toward the 2 men. "I saw him do it." Thorn pushed the cup away and stood slowly. Instead of leaving, he walked straight to their booth. Elena's pulse pounded in her ears. "You boys got something to say to me?" His voice was calm, dangerously so. The first man smiled, cold and calculated. "Just having coffee, friend. That a crime?" "Depends on what you put in mind." The smile faded. The second man, bigger and silent until now, stood up. "I think you're confused. The waitress saw you." Both men turned to look at Elena. She felt naked under their stares, exposed in a way that made her want to run. "Waitress is mistaken," the bigger man said. "Easy to see things wrong when you're tired." For a moment, nobody moved. The whole diner seemed to hold its breath. Then the first man tossed cash on the table. "We were leaving anyway." As they walked past Elena toward the exit, the bigger man stopped beside her. His voice was low, meant only for her ears. "Careful who you help, sweetheart. Sometimes it comes back on you." Then they were gone. Elena stood frozen, the coffee pot shaking in her hands. Thorn walked back and looked at her with something she didn't expect, concern. "You okay?" She nodded, not trusting her voice. "What's your name?" "Elena." "Elena, you just saved my life." He pulled out his wallet and left bills that covered 10 meals, not one. Then he scribbled something on a napkin. "That's my number. Anything happens, anything at all, you call me." "Why would anything happen?" "Because you saw something, and now they know." He grabbed his jacket. "Lock your doors tonight, and keep that number close." Thorn walked out, and moments later, the roar of his Harley filled the night before fading into nothing. Elena stood alone, staring at the napkin, and felt the ground shift beneath her feet. She finished her shift in a fog, jumping every time the door opened. When she clocked out at dawn, the parking lot felt different, darker somehow, more threatening. She drove home, checking her mirrors constantly, took a route she'd never taken before, and didn't relax until she was inside with the door locked behind her. Her sister, Maria, was making breakfast. Her son, Carlos, was playing with toy cars on the living room floor. "Mama!" He ran to her, and she scooped him up, holding him tighter than usual. Maria noticed. "What's wrong?" "Nothing. Just tired." But Maria knew her too well. "Elena, I saw something at work. Something I shouldn't have seen." "What kind of something?" Elena told her. All of it. The two men, the biker, the threat. When she finished, Maria's face was pale. "You need to go to the police." "And tell them what?" "That I saw two men put something in a coffee cup. I don't know what it was. I don't know who they were." "You have the biker's number." Elena pulled out the napkin. "Yeah, maybe he knows what to do." Elena stared at the number for a long time. Then she put it in her wallet and tried to sleep. She couldn't. Every sound in the apartment made her jump. Every car passing outside made her get up and check the window. That night, she went back to work. Her manager, Frank, asked if she was feeling okay. "You seem off." "I'm fine." But she wasn't. Around midnight, a man came in and sat at the counter. He ordered coffee, didn't drink it, just sat there for 20 minutes watching her. Then he left. An hour later, a woman came in. Same thing. Coffee. Watching. Leaving. They were letting her know. "We see you. We're still here." On her break, Elena went to the bathroom and pulled out her phone. She stared at Thorn's number for 5 full minutes before calling. He answered immediately. "Elena, how did you? I've been waiting for you to call." "What happened?" "People are watching me. Different people. They're making sure I know they're watching." "Where are you?" "At work." "Stay there. Stay where people can see you." "I'm coming." 30 minutes later, Thorn walked in with 2 other men, both wearing Iron Wolves patches. They sat at different tables, casual but alert. Thorn sat at the counter. "The men who drug my coffee work for a man named Victor Cross," he said quietly. "He's been trying to push my club out of this territory for months. We protect local businesses from people like him. Extortion, threats. We don't charge them. We just do it because it's right. And he doesn't like that. He was trying to take me out of the picture. If you hadn't warned me, I'd have woken up in a very bad place. If I woke up at all." Elena felt sick. "So now they're after me. Now they're trying to scare you, make you afraid to talk." "It's working." Thorn looked at her directly. "You've got 2 choices. Try to forget this and hope they leave you alone. Or help us finish what you started. Testify about what you saw. Help us build a case. I have a son, a family. I know, and I'm telling you, if you help us, I'll make sure nothing happens to them. You have my word." "The word of a biker?" Elena said without thinking, then immediately regretted it. Thorn didn't look offended. "The word of a man who means what he says. I've got brothers who will die for each other. We protect our own. And you're one of ours now." Elena went home and lay awake for hours. She thought about Carlos, about the kind of world she wanted him to grow up in. One where people stayed silent out of fear, or one where they stood up even when it was hard. In the morning, she called Thorn. "I'll do it, but you keep my son safe." "That's the deal." "Deal." The next week changed everything. Thorn arranged for Elena, Carlos, and Maria to stay at the Iron Wolves clubhouse. It wasn't what Elena expected. It was cleaner, more organized, almost like a community center. There were families there, women, kids, people who felt safer inside those walls than anywhere else. A woman named Rachel, whose husband was in the club, showed them to a room. "You're safe here. Nobody gets through those doors unless we want them to." Thorn worked with a lawyer who'd been building a case against Victor Cross for months. Elena's testimony about the attempted drugging was one piece. But Thorn had more: records of threats, protection rackets, violence. He'd been documenting everything, waiting for the right moment. "Your testimony puts Cross as men at the scene of an attempted assault," the lawyer explained. "Combined with everything else, it's enough." 10 days later, one of Cross's lieutenants got arrested on unrelated charges. Facing serious time, he started talking. Within 48 hours, 3 more people flipped. The case against Victor Cross came together fast. When Thorn told Elena, she almost didn't believe it. So it's over? Cross is going to prison. His operation is done. And the men who came after me? Already arrested. They can't touch you. Elena sat down, feeling the weight lift off her shoulders for the first time in weeks. 3 months later, Elena stood outside Tommy's roadside diner. She quit with the Victims Assistance Funds and help from the Iron Wolves. She enrolled in a paralegal program. She wanted to help people, wanted to do something that mattered. Carlos was in a better school. Maria had a safer apartment. And Elena had a new family. The Iron Wolves, who checked on her weekly, who protected her when she had nowhere else to turn. Thorn had offered her a job at the club handling administrative work, and she'd accepted. She worked alongside Rachel and other women who kept the organization running. 1 year after that night, Elena stood at the clubhouse helping organize a charity ride for foster kids. She'd found her place here, found purpose. Thorn walked over. "You doing okay?" "Better than okay." "You ever regret it?" Speaking up that night, Elena looked around the clubhouse at the people who'd become her family. "Not for a second." "Good, because you changed things that night. Not just for me, for a lot of people." She'd started by saving one biker's life with a whispered warning, and in the process, she'd saved her own. If this story resonated with you, hit that subscribe button and leave a comment telling us where you're from. Sometimes one moment of courage is all it takes to change everything. Drop a like if you believe in standing up for what's right, even when it's scary, because that's what heroes do. They speak up when everyone else stays silent.